During the governor's budget address in March, she told New Jerseyans the process would be different this year and that it would be more accountable and more transparent than ever. The governor also told us that she would end the previous administration's bad habit of tacking last-minute pork giveaways into each budget. She said, quote, "It's not what the people of New Jersey deserve." And the governor was right. Unfortunately for all New Jerseyans, it was business as usual this year. And that business includes the pork giveaways to favored districts in the budget itself, as well as even more disguised as a supplemental appropriation. The business also included secret backroom discussions that were not transparent until the very end of the process, when the budget was released just minutes before passage in committee late in the evening just 2 nights ago. And as usual, we're down to the wire. The Budget Committee was presented with the budget document, which is hundreds of pages long and full of important detailed information, just minutes before the committee moved to vote on it. And it's impossible that anyone on that committee had enough information at that point to make an educated and informed vote. Informed voting is what our constituents deserve and expect. And while I'm not on the Budget Committee, I cringed as I watched it unfold. As bad legislation came up, some on the other side of the aisle rightfully acknowledged serious concerns with some of them, but then they said, well, I'm going to just move it out of committee anyway. And without having a chance to go through hundreds of pages as the clock approached midnight, they voted on party lines to spend $61 billion of our money. New Jerseyans deserve better. And if your constituents watched this, as I did, they would be appalled. And the process is only the beginning of the egregious nature of the budget. The governor told us that she would not raise taxes and that she would control spending. That also turned out not to be true. This budget spends $1.9 billion more than the last budget did. But it's actually even more than that, because some of this year's pork spending is hidden in a massive supplemental appropriation. In the 9 years since the Christie administration, spending has increased $26 billion, which is 75% higher. But it's actually even worse than that because of the supplemental accounting trick. When your constituents hear this, they will again be appalled. Since the Christie administration, state taxes have increased by $23 billion under full Democrat control of the legislature and governor's office. That also is appalling. This budget also raises taxes. Of course it does. There are numerous tax increases, including capping deductions on corporate net operating losses, phasing out the alternative business tax deduction, and taxing companies for each employee who has health care coverage through Medicaid. And there are also automatic tax increases that are not budgeted, including income taxes which are not indexed for inflation, payroll taxes, gas taxes, tolls, and property taxes, among others. And I hear some say, well, some of these taxes are on corporations and not on individuals, so they're not really hurting New Jerseyans. But this is the usual one-dimensional thinking that gets us in trouble time and again. Corporate taxes are always passed on to consumers and to workers. And companies can and do move out of New Jersey once they realize all the economic and regulatory hurdles that this legislature and governor puts up with budgets like this one. With this budget, expect to see more of the corporate exodus, and with it, New Jersey jobs. And imagine all this in a state that already has the highest property and corporate income taxes and among the highest personal income taxes and overall cost of living in the entire United States. So given all this bad news, one would think that some relief might be in order, especially for seniors who struggle financially to stay in New Jersey. We all want to make sure our seniors are comfortable and are able to stay in New Jersey when they retire. Before I was in the legislature, Stay NJ was passed as property tax relief for seniors. But while Stay NJ sounds great as a means to lower property taxes for seniors, there never was a serious plan to fund it. And this year's budget confirms that. As compared with what our seniors were promised and rightfully expected, many will see lower Stay NJ payments, and many will see no payments at all. Overall, this results in fewer seniors getting relief, and many of those who do getting less relief than they were promised. A better plan would actually lower property taxes permanently rather than relying on budget negotiations and gimmicks every year. Our seniors counted on property tax relief, and many will be, again, appalled at the result of this budget. And then there are many other issues with this budget. Schools are significantly underfunded, their surplus is lower, A large structural deficit remains. The reported deficit and surplus decline will worsen due to the supplemental appropriation bill. There are no tax cuts. There is no additional property tax relief. And finally, over the last few months, I've been hearing that the sky's falling due to Medicaid cuts from Washington. But it turns out that Medicaid funding from Washington is actually increasing, as we've heard. But it bears repeating, by more than $1 billion. And it's interesting to note that this budget cuts Medicaid in order to pay for the pork projects. Our citizens are no better off. In fact, many are worse off with this budget. And that's why people and companies will continue to leave New Jersey. We need real and permanent property tax relief. We need a complete overhaul of the way we fund our schools. We need lower personal income taxes and lower corporate income taxes. We need fewer pork project gifts to politically favored districts. We need to audit every single dollar that goes through this state and cut wherever necessary to make government efficient, regardless of political considerations. We need to focus on protecting New Jersey citizens and not spending money we don't have protecting those who are here legally. We need to prioritize our people over politics. If they took a look at this budget, guess what? Our constituents will be appalled. They would ask us to vote no, and we can do better, but we'll have to wait till next year. So I'm voting no. I urge you to vote no in the hope that we do much better next time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.